succeeded in misleading majority of the human beings. Within Islam, the majority has gone in the wrong direction and therefore could not achieve the benefits of this deen. You see all the discord and all the conflicts and all the oppression happening all over the Islamic world, Muslim countries, in the name of Islam. While they have all these people who have memorized the Quran, recite them day and night, and all these prayers and all these beautiful mosques, and not a sign of justice in these countries. Not a trace of goodness and virtue. Not the slightest speck or sign of empathy or compassion for those who are suffering. It seems like only the rich have the right to live. Only the powerful have the right to enjoy. And Islam seems to be supporting this oppression. This form of Islam, this version of Islam seems to be of good use. That it's a very good instrument in the hands of all these powerful people to continue to oppress the masses. So what are the reasons why Muslims deviated from that path? So if you look at history, you will see that it started during the lifetime of Holy Prophet. And because this deviation began during the lifetime of Holy Prophet, it just continued on. People saw that this happened during his time, so they saw those people who deviated and who refused to follow the Prophet's orders, they followed those people. So it continued, the line of deviation continued. For example, the Holy Prophet said many things. He, for example, mentioned that after me will be 12 successors. Khulafa'i Ithna Ashar. And this is in the books of Ahlul Sunnah. In the books of that, after me there will be 12 successors. To this day, this year 2025, right? As we speak to each other, to this day, after 14 centuries, Muslims have not found an answer to this question: who are those 12 successors of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? They have no clue. They continue to provide different theories and different explanations of this. They don't know who are them. Only one school of Ahlul Bayt has a clear answer based on the ahadith of the Holy Prophet in their books, that Rasulullah actually said, after me will be 12 successors, and they will be from the house of Ali and Fatima alayhi salatu wasalam. So obviously the Prophet made the statement during his lifetime, so people refused to accept it. There was conflict, people were given different interpretations. The argument has started right there. The Prophet asked for give me a pen and paper, right? Aktub lakum kitaban, I will write for you a will, so that you will never be led astray, misguided after me. They refused to give him. He said, Inna rajul la yahjur. This man, the Holy Prophet, was in his last day and ill. So they say, well, no, he is not well, so his mind is not working well, basically, implying this. And clearly saying, Inna rajul la yahjur. In Farsi, his yan mi huya. This man is not making sense. Pointing to Rasulullah, he is out of his mind. He doesn't know what he's saying, so his word carries no value. Refuse to give him a pen and paper. Well, and then the same people make the argument that Rasulullah, right, asked somebody in the same state a little later to send so-and-so to lead the salat for people. Well, how is that? The Rasulullah was just not making sense just now, and suddenly his other decision makes so much sense that he appointed so-and-so to go and recite the salat, which he did not, obviously. Somebody took the information outside and sent somebody to lead the salat, and Prophet found out, and in that condition, he asked to be taken to the mosque with two people supporting the Prophet in that condition, took him and pushed that man aside and led the salat himself. That is also in the report. So, disobedience to the Prophet. These are talking about the causes of the deviation. The Prophet said, La'anallahu man takhallafa jaysha Usama. After Ghadir, the Prophet, as he was coming close to his time of departure, There's a lot of discussion about how could the Prophet pass away? He was not sick. There was nothing wrong with him. How did he suddenly pass away? That's a different discussion. But the Prophet said, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ مَنْ تَخَلَّفَ جَيْشَ أُسَامَةَ. He said, everyone must join this expedition, this conquest, under the leadership of Usama bin Zayd ibn Harith. Zayd was martyred in the Battle of Mu'tah against the Romans. His son Usama, young, I think 18 or 20 years old, 20-year-old young man, very brave. Prophet appointed him as a commander. He said, everyone must join. He wanted to clear the space so that the will of Holy Prophet announced at Ghadir would be put in practice. So that as these people leave the city, when they come back, everything would have been taken care of. After the death of Holy Prophet, Imam Ali alayhi salam would, by the support of the people, would become the Khalifatul Muslimin, and the path of Islam will continue as set forth by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Their writers mention that the first big argument with the Prophet happened when they refused to follow the direct order of Holy Prophet that everyone must leave the city, they all must go and join this army. And the fact is that the disobedience had begun much earlier. And then the issue of Saqifa happened. As the Holy Prophet passed away, I mentioned that earlier, they chose someone from amongst them. There was argument, there was a fight. There's a whole research done in the name of Succession to Muhammad, published by Oxford. And I think David Macmillan is the writer. A lot of good research. It puts together all the historical evidence. The way our Sunni brothers mentioned that after the Holy Prophet was very smooth, the first Khalifa was elected in a very smooth manner, it's all wrong. There was no election, there was a conflict, there was a fight, and some basically through by terrorizing the opposition, they forced someone in power. And then that man was brought in the masjid. Anyone who tried to refuse to give allegiance basically were put down. It was killed or removed from the scene, or something mysteriously vanished. This is how the first Khalifa was forcibly installed. Anyway, so that happens. Imam Ali alayhi salatu was salam, please say salawat. Mentions in Khutbah Shiqshaqiyya in Nahjul Balagha, the third sermon, Imam Ali mentioned, Ama wallah laqad taqammasaha fulanun, pointing to the guy who became the first Khalifa. Imam says, Ama wallah, he put on that garment of Khilafat. Imam resembles this with a garment, like something you put on. Fulanun. وَإِنَّهُ, and that person who took Khilafat in his hand, right, knows very well أَنَّ مَحَلِّي مِنْهَا مَحَلَّ الْقُطْبِ مِنَ الرَّحَى, that my place with respect to Khilafat is like, chakki ki keel, that the way the hand mill, there is a nail in the center. Without that, you can't really powder the grain. So the most central thing in Khilafat is the wujud Mubarak of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. Mahalli, this is my place. I assume the most central place in Islam. Without me, nothing can function. No Khilafat or whatever, Quran, Hadith, knowledge, Irfan, Ibadah, nothing can be in place without Ali being at the center of Islam. That is the key position of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And then Imam said, يَنْحَدِرُ عَنِّ السَّيْلِ, flood of knowledge comes down from me, as if I'm standing on the top of this cliff, which is called Islam, and from my existence comes down يَنْحَدِرُ عَنِّ السَّيْلِ, flood of ma'arif and knowledge and spirituality and divine blessings. Everything is pouring down from the wujud of Maulana. يَنْحَدِرُ عَنِّ السَّيْلِ. He's so high. وَلَا يَرْقَى إِلَيَّ الطَّيْرِ, no bird can ever fly up to where I stand. There's nothing that can fly so high to reach me. Nothing will ever reach me. And from the position that I have in Islam, everything is from me. Everything that people receive, anything that you call Islam, guidance, piety, knowledge, everything comes from that Wujud Mubarak. For Sadr, but he said this happened. Khilafat was taken away, right? And then one person who thought himself unworthy, till yesterday suddenly he passes on this Khilafat to another person like himself. Well, he thought that I am not worthy of Khilafat, now he is putting it in the hand of someone else without any consultation, without any election, without any shura, nothing. Suddenly another person pops up, becomes the Khalifa. Imam Ali is mentioning what has happened to this deen. Rasulullah Akram was not elected by people, sent as a guide by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He left behind Quran and Ahlul Bayt. And then suddenly what happens? They issue the order to burn all the hadiths of Rasulullah. Orders were issued by the first and then the second Khalifa successively to all the cities, all over the Muslim world. Whoever has any hadith from Holy Prophet must set fire to it immediately. Now what happens when people do that? They make new hadiths. This is what happens. Suddenly you have hadiths. So there's hadith that which actually was the plan of Islam, which Prophet actually did provide to the people after him, which involved everything that centered around wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Now if you burn all the hadiths, remove all of that from the books, right?